you as a director ever find it hard to deliver a thing, knowing how it was going to sound, and knowing that there was some bit of paper you could show them that would explain everything, but you can't show them it because it's, you know, it's a confidential company thing, and you have to find some way of delivering it, but without talking about the real reason. The real reason would probably settle everybody down, but you can't show them it. Do you ever had that sort of really tough situation when you've got to tell them a thing and tell them they can't have a thing or something's changing, but you cannot divulge the top level discussions that you've had?
You must sing the company line. I was taught that a lot. You must sing the company line.
It's tough for me, that. It's always been the toughest bit.
Even if you don't agree with it, you've been in, you've had your say, you've had that high level discussion, but the decision is the decision. Now go out and sing it. I'll sing the song for you because that's the company line. And that makes me an even worse person if I was to say, well, I'm telling you this, but I don't really agree with it. You know, you can't do that.
The company says the CEO has said you can't have this. So it has to be we or I.
Yeah, it has to be. You know, and it could be the one I hated the most was peer review time, because it's so emotional.
It is.
It's so emotional to the individual. I hated those discussions because, you know, when somebody believes they're worth 4.5% and you're only able to offer 2.5%, and that's as much as you can give, they're disappointed, and you can't do anything about it
because they've already set their number and expectations, and it hasn't been met. Oh, but you haven't had nothing.
No, and you know, if suddenly, I don't know, a company suddenly decides at the last minute they're not giving a bonus scheme, and you've got to sing that song, even though most of the year you've been working towards that, and you can't give it.
Yeah, that's happened. I've had to say that a load.
You know,
many
you
times.
miss this KPI by the hair's breadth of a, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you're not getting it, and you're like, oh my God.
In my opinion, I don't think that was delivered. I think you've still got no, but no. They sounds like excuses to me, not reasons. Soz.
And some leaders were just so principled that they didn't believe you got the 100%. They just didn't want to give that number. They don't want to give that 100%.
Yeah.
I have to take something off you.
Yeah, I've met managers like that. I have to take at least summit, because then you've got to stretch. Yeah. And you've got to stretch and talk. Well, what? But I did everything. Yeah, but you know, nothing's perfect.
Can you imagine you working? You know, remember how we used to set the bonus scheme early on, and then the business radically changed in 2-month period, whereby it made it virtually impossible to achieve the bonus target. And you would try and go back and renegotiate with the senior team, and they would go no. And you're like, but the business has fundamentally changed. We can't get anywhere near that number. No.
I remember a couple of those.
And that's the side of the fence I really struggle with, because those people at baseline who had done nothing wrong and the business had fundamentally changed knew they were never going to get anything that year.
Yeah, and then the conspiracy theories start. They knew that. They knew that decision was always coming, wasn't it? They knew it. Yeah. They did it on purpose. So, and it just leads to all that stuff. So, is it worth all that grief and lack of that change in productivity and feeling for the sake of just renegotiate the bonus? It's money. It's money the business is going to make. I mean, what happens if they all just stop work? What if they all leave? You'll not make any.
Yeah, or rather than saying you're getting 0% of nothing, set a new target, which is a tokenary gesture, but at least it gives some enthusiasm towards the rest of the year. It's a token gesture of something, you know. It's not the whole thing, the 100% we were talking about in terms of, I don't know, getting a grand at the end of the year, but you're now, okay, we can work towards 250 quid if we really stretch ourselves and try and hit some numbers. But working towards nothing is soul destroying. You know, but you know, The opposite side of the fence was I was thinking about a couple of these. So we're working an 8 hour day. We get paid for 8 hours. We get an amount per hour. So we start at 8 o'clock. Yeah. And what time was everybody dipsy doodling through into the workplace? Yeah. So past 8.
They've got to get
8.
They've got to get their coffees though, Mark. The coffees that the company, the coffee that the company pays for, like the company coffee machine that was all free, and all them little breakfast items, they were all free. They've got to make use of those, but they can't make use of those in their own time. They have to do it on your time.
No, and we've got to talk about EastEnders from last night.
My time's my time.
Yeah. And so certain people I work with, they were like, Mark, why have they not actually started working at 8 o'clock? Because that's what time we actually pay them from. And you were like, yeah, got me on that one.
Well, they've got to catch up. They've got to catch up, and not all of them turn up at 7:30 to have that catch up. So they'll turn up at 10 to 8, change their shoes into their warehouse shoes, their Crocs and whatnot, and then they start their chat, and then they're distracted, and then of course the one thing that I dislike more than that is those that wrap up at 10 to 5.
Remember the old top clock machines?
They've already started. But mentally they've already been winding down since 4:30.
Right, so here's one I used to love, right? So that we worked there and we'd seen it, but so they're wrapping up at 10 to 5. There's no night shift on, there's no evening shift on. Everybody, the same people are back at 8 o'clock the next morning. What is happening between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock the next morning? Nothing. What? The mice suddenly turn up and start picking stuff? No. So why are we stopping at 10 to 5 when you're coming back to the exact same position, the exact same trolley, the exact same place at 8 o'clock the next morning? Why do you need to pack up?
Yeah. And then you've got to get it all back out again. I remember doing that when I first turned up. Well, we've got to put everything in the vault. We're going to move it all out, take all this stuff off all these tables, put all these shelves away, pack it all in this massive vault. Right. And of course, we don't want to make you leave work late, so we'll do it in work time. And then, of course, we don't want you to do this during unpaid time, so we'll start it at 8 o'clock, where we unpack it all and put it all back out. Well, why don't you just make the whole warehouse more secure instead? And then you can leave it all out.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately what happened, right?
Yeah, because you started to get into the lean thinking, but unfortunately, a lot, if you take 100 employees, you're going to have high performing people at the top, and then because of the law of averages at the bottom, you've got those people that will take the proverbial out of you and try and skin you for as much as they can get out of you. So whether it's I worked in Littlewoods in 1999, and
Littlewoods.
They were packing up and standing at the clocking machine 15 minutes before the end of time. Why are you standing there? Well, because I didn't want to be last in the queue, But it wasn't in. I don't know now why I've done a Geordie voice, because it was in Oldham. It was in Oldham, so they were packing up 15 minutes before, standing in the clocking machine, and you know how long it took to clock out for like 100 people? 30 seconds.
Because it was just chunk, 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 chunk.
Yeah. But they were queuing for 15 minutes to get out when it took 30 seconds to get out. And you would tell them, you said, look, I watched it last night and it took 30 seconds for you all to get out there. I don't understand why you're all queuing there 15 minutes before. Well, I didn't want to be last, and they're still Geordies. But,
It's my default working class accent.
Yeah, it's my default. Unfortunately, that tells us something, doesn't it? That default to the Geordie accent.
Well, it's the friendliest accent, obviously.
Yeah. Other experiences I had in one was in Blackburn when I started in a place there, and so they started at 8 o'clock, Blackburn. And so they come in, they get their brew, they'd gone in, the goods in area, they'd read their paper for a little bit, and then they'd all disappear, and I was like, where have they all gone? And they were like, oh, they've gone to take their kids to school. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Oh, they've gone to take their kids to school. because the wives are away working, so they kind of do it. The wives kind of do it, so they have to go home, take the kids to school, then they come back to work, and then they start on goods in. What? And we're paying for that? We, and I'm like, really? And so this is employee perspective, which was like when I said that doesn't make any sense, and they were looking at me and say, what's your problem, like? Why are you contesting that? I said, well, because that's not bringing any value to what's going on here. Well, it brings value to my kids.
So well, then you need to change your shift, or...
Well, let's just say those people didn't last very long when I started. Yeah, so it's that old fit in or I can't swear.
Foreign
I can't swear, Simon.
Well, as my mum calls it, foreign office.
My mother's on.
Is it foreign office?
Fit in or foreign office?
No, foreign office or post office. That. Aye.
Yeah.
So
we're on to the foreign office.
So then, my dad was telling us a story.
Yeah.
Because he was on the railway for 30 odd years. Man and boy.
Man and boy.
I mean, he's worked in what was the original Tynemouth station, Whitley Base station, colour coats. When it was all railway owned and what. He's been a lower. There's a ton of places around the country he's been. So he's in ticket offices, the lot parcel offices, Red Star Parcels. Remember that? Red Star Parcels.
Red Star. Why?
I used to go with my dad and sit on the platform watching the trains. Anyway, when he used to take us into work, like bring your kid to work day, that kind of thing. You just had to go up in this lift and just leave us sat on the platform on my own with me bait box watching trains. You couldn't do that now. Can you imagine? Just go and leave. Oh, I don't know what age I was. I'll have been in single digits. Just go and leave your 5-year-old kid on the bench on one of the platforms just watching trains on his own. You'd be read. Of course I was. Sitting there with me old can of Pepsi, me bait box, me mum had put up. With me chicken and tomato sauce sandwiches. With the chicken left over from Sunday dinner. But he was telling me a story. He says, I used to know a load of drivers. And, the first time, because he worked in payroll at one point, doing all the payroll packets. When they used to bring the money in, they'd have to put it all in the little trace and paper packets. He used to do that for a while in the roster room. And doing all the payroll bits, right? So he said, do you know what? The first time I ever saw a salary go over to, and this is back in the day, bear in mind, the first time I saw someone's pay go over into the 10 grand a year mark was a driver. I said, really? He says, yes. So from the moment they step out the door, they're paid. So they're either given a car or taken in a car and driven to the station they're going to be driving from. And then they drive in the train for maximum 3-4 hours. And then they have to have so many hours break in between before they're allowed to drive another train back. Right? But he knew some of the guys that worked on the tracks and whatnot. He said, well, look, I can't work on a station that's next door. Like the King's Cross guys can't work on St Pancras, even though they're not that far apart because they're in different zones. And this is, but worse still, when they were sat in the break room, if your boss came in and asked you a question, and if it was a work-based question, you were allowed to restart your break.
Flippin' heck.
Aye. That was a union rule. That's what the unions had negotiated. That your boss, you can come in and have a chat, but if you can reasonably argue that, we're having a work-based chat, then you can start your break again from scratch.
Yeah. And, we were...
Mental. And some of those rules are still in place,
Yeah, we were discussing before this about places like the post office and the miners back in you have to be very careful about how far you push this situation with employers, employees, yeah? Because, you go back to the 1980s and it just went completely the opposite way that they planned it, didn't it? It just fell apart.
Yeah, ultimately. And then all the mines started just losing money. Because, they were on a racket, right? Especially the union guys, making fortunes. There was always rumours about the cars that they had and the parties that they had, and as much as, bloody Thatcher. Well, yeah, it was an absolute racket. the money.
Yeah.
It's an absolute racket.
Yeah.
I've heard plenty of stories from older people who were working there. But I mean, I've had, my family went down the mines and whatnot. So my granddad.
My grandfather was 50 years.
Although me granddad told my dad straight to his face, "You are not working down the mines. I want better for you." So that's how he ended up on the railway and doing other things. So he said, and do you know, I only learned that a couple of weeks ago. Because I asked my mum and dad, "What did you want to be?" I've never asked them that question. My dad said, "Oh, I wanted to be a fitter and a joiner and all that." But my dad told us he wouldn't let me go because it was just the thing. You go and work down the mines, straight out of school, what have you. He told us that he wouldn't let us. So you're not allowed. I want better for you. What with all the black lung and all sorts of stuff that's been about since.
Yeah.
Nah. So that's interesting.
Worst phrase I ever heard by an employee was discussion about holidays, and the individual said, I've still got 9 weeks vacation to take this year." And I was like, I said, "Oh, you got 9 weeks vacation?"
Was that me?
And he went, No. That wasn't time accrued by you. No. Yeah. Simon, can I just pay you for it again this year?
Yeah.
Is it all right?
It wouldn't have been unusual, would it? Yeah.
No, we used to just pay you out because we couldn't afford you to let you have the time off.
Yeah.
And
I just wouldn't take it with it.
But the worst quote I heard, he was like, "I've got 9 weeks holiday," and I was like, "How you got 9 weeks holiday left?" I said, "We only get 4 weeks a year." And he went, "Yeah." He said, "I've got 4 weeks holiday and 5 weeks sick to take." I was like, "What?"
Oh dear me! I worked with someone like that. Oh,
yeah.
I know.
And I was like,
But
"What?"
It's paid though.
And he was like, "Yeah. Well, I've got 5 weeks sick to take this year as well." I was like, and I mean, this was 25 years ago, but I just thought that just about sums you up.
It's a state of mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the company's got a ton of money. I need money. They need me. I'm a resource. They can afford it. There's that. Post office has lost £1 billion because they're saying primarily due to the strikes, but it's a risk, right? You take some action against things. Well, you're not there, especially in a public sector job. Oh, well, we're not going to use the post office anymore. I'm going to send me parcels some other way. So we just started losing money hand over fist, and now we literally can't afford to give you the pay rise you're asking for. Oh, well, then we're going to keep striking. Oh, well, then, like you were saying before, I half expect it to fold. So the parent company that owns it, I half expect it to go bust.
UPS, any of the others, just sitting there like flipping crocodiles in a pond waiting to snap up the bits, won't they?
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
And they're entitled to withdraw their labour. I said, well, yeah, I know you are. All of that, believe in all that stuff, yes. But
it's a private company at the end of the day, isn't it?
But, this is the thing. Right? There's only part of it that's public and the other bit's private.
Yeah.
Right? So the post offices and the postal company are two separate things, if I've got that right. So the post offices are the...
I don't know.
Are they the public? Are they the private? I can't remember. I can't remember which way, but it's half and half anyway. And it's owned by a private company, so it's not publicly owned. Well, the government needs to. It's not publicly owned. Same as the railway. That's not publicly owned. They own shares in Network Rail, like the company that looks after the tracks. That's it. Although
the best thing about what we're doing now, my little comedy routine that I do with my wife now is. She'll say, are you off on Friday? And I'll go, hold on, I'll just ask the boss and the employee. Mark, can you have Friday off? Yeah, I think you're all right, Mark. You have Friday off. Mark, can I have a pay rise on Friday? Yeah, I think that's all right, Mark. You can have a pay rise on Friday, but on Saturday you'll have to pay it back. So we're both sides of the fence now.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Yeah, it's true.
Sure.
Working for yourself.
Yeah.
That's a different prospect altogether as well, when you're both the producer of the goods as well as the person who brings the work in the first place. And then you've got all the bills to worry about and your own salary and household bills to worry about. So if we don't work, we don't earn money. There's no sick pay. There's none of this Uber nonsense where, they're technically contractors, but now they're entitled to holiday pay and all of that. It's, well, no, there's none of that. If I don't work, I'm living on savings. It's as simple as that. There is no...
Yeah.
There's no...
If
there's no cushion. There's nothing like that. There's no sick pay.
You're right. But if we work, and we work hard, we reap the rewards.
Yes. So it's a balance. The risk is massive, but then the reward is also potentially as big. So you are taking a risk by going out contracting and whatnot, but this is why you should only do it when you've reached a certain skill level. And
it sort of closes off a really interesting point that I really love on when is enough, because I and you decide when enough is enough now. I earn as much as I want to earn or as little as I want to earn.
Do you know what? I asked myself that question on the way, and I was talking about... I keep thinking about, I've got this work coming in, I've got that. That should pay that bill, all right, and if I get to this level, I'll be comfy. And I went, hold on a minute. I'd love to be a millionaire. And I'm like... But, hold on, yeah, and I would, because I'd do stuff with it, I'd do things for other people with it, I'd be, I had all kinds of plans, but then I thought, quite often, I'm content. I'd be most content when I just know income and outgoings are balanced, but I've still got time left to go off and do me things, right? So what does that tell you? And I'm like, oh, hold on a minute though. I'd love to be earning millions. Yeah, but do you have to? Like, there's only so happy you can get, right? And I know that when my income's enough to pay for all my bills, with stuff left over to do some of the things I like to do, or I like my cars and this and that. I have to admit that I've got a smile on my face at that moment. That income, outgoing's fine. I can crack on. Oh, I'm going to go play this. Oh, I'm going to go off to this place. I feel sort of content when that happens.
It's you're right. It's very much about the balance. Take this week. I did two days at Robin's house, laying the floor. Got immense level of satisfaction from that. And there's no money involved.
You tore that to bits, mind. When you sent us them photos, you've gone through it. You've definitely gone through
they
it.
have. I'm part of helping them. They're doing a lot of the hard work themselves. But then I did a couple of days' work and I got paid for it. Self-employed work, and I got immense satisfaction out of that. But it's very much about the balance of using your time and getting the money, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at contracts, and there's some of them are like full time in office, on a day rate. And then you look at the bottom line, what that would mean. You go, ooh, that looks fruity. That's tasty, that. Bottom line, working full time. Well, yeah, I wouldn't get this done, though. What about the podcast? Oh, what about this thing? Oh, and I usually help so-and-so out on this day with these website bits. And, I'm usually off consulting on this. Oh, well, my mum and dad usually come around on the Wednesday and we'll go and do this. And all that goes in the bin. But look at the bottom line, though. And I'm like, yeah, but... I've actually placed value on some of these things. Like me folks just come around. Your mum likes to come around. She takes me washing. Right now, to get you. Oh, I'll do it. Just put it in a bag. And I place value actually, and just that little bit of they've come round. We have a cup of tea, chat about some stuff and things. I might see them on a Sunday for Sunday dinner, unless there's a match on and my mum's out at the Newcastle match. And being able to just up sticks. Like I did today, and went and seen your Mark, and talked about his website and stuff. And I didn't have to go to a boss somewhere and say, won't be in Friday. So I won't be charging you for Friday because I won't be in. I just went, somebody wants to meet and talk about a thing. They really need some help. Right, what time are you free? I'll meet you down there. It was just simple. So there's a certain... I've learned value in all this freedom that it gives you, so that it isn't all about bank, as it were. That as much as I could, the skill level I'm at, I could earn some decent dosh in data warehousing and this. I could be loading it up But then what about all these other things that I've actually come to like and appreciate? Being able to just drop sticks and go, oh, aye. You need help with what? Aye. What time? Pop down. Have a chat about it. I kind of love that. And I don't think full-time's not for me.
Definitely not.
I'd rather graft out a couple of 12-hour days. Or even 3 12-hour days, do 36 hours in 3 days. I'd rather do that and then have the rest of the week to do whatever the hell I want. So even if I did a full-time rate, so even if I did full-time hours but did them in a shorter space of time, I'd do that. But Monday to Friday? Nah. If you can afford not to, not many people can.
Yeah.
It's a life-altering thing, isn't it? Life-altering. It almost feels more natural, in a way, which is the odd thing. So yeah, all good. Quickly, our Facebook caption competition was me this week, pulling a face.
Yeah.
Someone called Mark Terrence. Yes, the other guy on the screen is gorgeous. Aye, right. You had to put that in there, didn't you? Funny enough,
I've got another pose for you this week.
Nah, I see. Every time you bring it up, that's the expression that I make. That's the expression I pull on my face. So I thought, yeah, well, there you go. And your mum, absolute legend. I'm trying hard not to fart. Legend.
I couldn't work out what the last word was.
Fart. I start RT.
From my mother, I just couldn't work it out. I was at ends of the scale here. You got to be careful because I saw the F, and I'm like, no.
But ends in a T. Yeah. Well, what's it like to be?
Huh?
I'm trying hard not to foot. Oh,
and hers was a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
She scored points for that.
She did.
10 points straight off the bat. Moist, and she added the extra M's as well because you can't say moist without saying. See, she gets.
Did you get?
She gets it.
Did you get one from Carl as well?
On my page, I did.
On
because I repost, I shared it on on my page. But you're Ray.
Yeah.
One of our top fans. You might notice that I turned those badges on. So people who post frequently have this little diamond next to their name saying top fan next to it. So as you post more, your rank goes up. So your Ray and your mum are both currently top fans as regular posters. So your Ray says that door just opened on its F&O. I was like, mate. Do you know, I've genuinely had that worry when I very first started doing the podcast and the door was closed. The camera's pointing right at it. I've genuinely had that thought, what if it opens on the camera? I turn round and it's shut. No way, mate, no way. And so he said that. So I said that's both funny and a genuine worry. So what did he do? Posted a gif. Hello mofo, and just posted this scary gif. It's like, you swine. Absolute swine. So I called him a swine on Facebook. And then of course I forgot what your Carl said. It's on here somewhere. Is he I can't remember now. I can't remember. Oh, there it is. Have you forgotten your webcam's on? I was thinking, if you're talking about me pulling a face at Mark, that works. Because he's walked in wearing budgie smugglers, not realising that the camera's on. I thought, I best not suggest that, because there's a 50-50 chance he might go do it.
I won't tell you about the picture Robin took of me with Nana underpants on today.
Nana pants?
Nana pants. Yep. What's we're live next, aren't we? We're live next.
Yeah. So those are brilliant, by the way. It'll be your turn. It'll be your turn next week. Your turn coming up. So I'm gonna have to do me random magic pause and see what it lands on But they work out great guns on there. I love the stuff we get on there. It's they are easily one of our best performance things. So they're here to stay. As daft as they are, they're here to stay. So next week you're going to be away, taking your hacky bag on his hacky travels to Paris. So
I'm going to take my hacky bag right up the Eiffel Tower.
Read up. Aye, up the top. You're gonna take a photo from the tip.
Yeah.
Me. Oh, with the glasses. Oh. So there's that. So we thought, like we did last time, since there wasn't, the schedule's a little tight to do a recording and whatnot, we'd do a live. But this time, we'll do a double stream, and I'll include Facebook and YouTube. So we'll do a doubler. So anyone who's not on YouTube, watch it on Facebook. But when it's on Facebook, anyone can jump in. So could be interesting. Huh?
Oh, you mean they can come on as in put comments or physically be there?
Yeah, they can just jump in. So and so's live. Just jump in, have a chat, put a little thumbs up and whatnot. You can also buy little stars, so you can monetize. Right. You can actually monetize a stream on Facebook where your fans can go in, pay real money for stars, and then they can gift these stars during the broadcast if they like what they're saying. You know, that kind of thing. There's a few bits and pieces. Yes, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll have a little topic, couple of topics to talk about, but the dad jokes will be back. So we need to prep some dad jokes for the live stream.
Right.
And then I can cut them up and put them out with shorts, because they do really well. To be fair, they do really well on YouTube. Yeah. So that and that. Good. So there'll be that, and then this one's 20, by the way. 20.
Is it 20?
20 episodes. Ooh, I've been talking to another potential guest. Yeah. More details on that. When he's going to have a watch of some episodes, and we'll see how it goes. And it'd be great to have him on. It'd be some good stories. Right. So until then, like, follow, subscribe. It's the best way to support us, because it gets us into the algorithms and gets us noticed and gets more people in, because our subscriber count's starting to go up, which is nice, on a regular basis. So until then, though, thanks for watching, listening, and take care.